We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a major signal that just flashed on Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about why that signal very well may mean the end of this major rally that Bitcoin has been in. As you guys know, because you probably saw the video that went out on Saturday, there is a bearish MACD cross that was about to take place, and with the new week starting and it being on the weekly chart, that cross has now occurred. With that cross occurring, that now leads us into the very dire prediction that Bitcoin could be going through a major correction. Or will it? Is Bitcoin about to drop down to the CME gap around $20,000? Or will Bitcoin from here be able to maintain itself and rally even higher? That's going to be the topic of today's stream. I'm really looking forward to breaking it all down for you. So let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We just got started. We've already got over 100 people watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to leave your comments over in the chat, and I will make sure to go ahead and read as many of them as I can. Wisely T is here in chat, said, is it possible in your view that Bitcoin doesn't even reach all-time high next bull run based on the bearish view in Saturday's video? In case you guys don't know, there was a video that we put up on Saturday. It was a Climate of Crypto episode, and it looks a little something like this. This crashed Bitcoin 73% last time it flashed again. And so if you have not seen that video, I would highly encourage you to go and watch that video, because in that video, I'm going to break down a few of the different perspectives on Bitcoin. There's the bullish view of the next 12 to 24 months. There's the bearish view over the next 2 to 3 to 4 months. And then there's also the bullish view down over the next couple of weeks. And then I'm going to break it down my view. So make sure you go and watch that video. That video is going to be relevant for months. It's a longer term video, just like all of our video content over there is. I'd love for you to check that out. But in that video, I talk about the bearish view, and there are a few different factors that are going into the bear's perception of what the market is doing. And one of those views has to do with the weekly chart bearish MACD cross that was about to occur last Thursday and now has occurred. As you can see, there is a weekly chart MACD cross bearish that has just flashed on the weekly chart, and so now we're going to have to talk about what that means. Wisely T, that is in large part what today's video is all about. So we will be spending the next 20, 30, 40 minutes or so breaking down the answer to that question. Philly Skills 1428 is in chat, said, yo, what's up, man? How you doing, Philly Skills? Good to see you. Alex Nibo is in chat, said good morning. Queen's in chat. Joe Bollier's in chat. Utam Sarkur said hello. Good morning to you. And Grand Roofing Incorporated, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Good morning to you as well. Dan Nolan said, right now, right now. Right now, right now. All right. We've got Colin McDonald in chat as well. We've got Bob. Let's see. We've got RC Moore. Thank you guys so much for all of you guys tuning in. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight on over to CoinMarketCap. As you guys can see, Bitcoin is currently trading at $26,800. It is down 1.5% over the last 24 hours. Ethereum is trading at $1,870. It is down 1.72% over the last 24 hours. And as you can see, Bitcoin is trading at $520 billion market capitalization. Ethereum is trading at $225 billion market capitalization, respectively. BNB is sitting at $300. XRP is sitting at 53 cents. Cardano is sitting at 37 cents. Many of the major cryptocurrencies are down quite significantly over the last 24 hours to the last 7 days. Bitcoin is down 4% over the last 7 days. And so that leads us on to the Bitcoin chart, where we need to talk a little bit about the downtrend that Bitcoin is in. As you guys know, Bitcoin attempted to go through a major rally just a couple of days ago, back at the beginning of last week. And actually, it was the weekend of the week before last. Bitcoin rallied all the way up to 28,545, but it rejected from there. Bitcoin's rejection from that level has been pretty major. Bitcoin has gone through a correction of over 7% at this point. And that correction is likely to sustain as Bitcoin is attempting to hold itself above this downtrending level of resistance, above this downtrending level of support right here. We did have a buy signal coming in from Lux Algo, and it is technically still confirmed. We have technically not rejected from that. We have not invalidated that sell signal just yet, but that sell signal is likely to present quite a lot of challenge for Bitcoin over the next couple of days, because if Bitcoin goes much further to the downside at all, we're likely going to see another sell signal, and that sell signal could give us a price target well down into the low $20,000 region. That's not something that we're going to want to see. That is definitely going to be very, very bearish indeed. Now, let's start out with the actual point of today's stream. We want to first look at our weekly chart, so we'll go to a kind of a clean chart here over on BLX. You can see over here on BLX, we're a little bit outdated. Just keep in mind, BLX hasn't updated yet because it's a weekly. It only updates every 24 hours, and this is the first day of the week. You can see the MACD is actually cross bearish at this point, so BLX is a day behind. But regardless, you can kind of see the bearish MACD cross here on the weekly chart that has occurred. I want to break this down in a little bit more detail, and then from there, we'll talk about what that entails for Bitcoin and where that will likely send Bitcoin. So first, let's look at the history, and then let's break down what it means, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about what we can do with this information. All right, now that we've got kind of our logical format and structure set up, let's break down this flash. If you guys don't know, MACD is short for the moving average convergence divergence, and that is a technical indicator that is actually quite important, because when you are looking at the moving average convergence divergence, it is going to give you great signals pertaining to whether or not a market is about to go into a rally or not. Oftentimes, it will be a lagging indicator, and it will give a confirmation of a trend that has already started. That is actually pretty helpful, though, because you don't want to necessarily jump into a trade the moment you see any kind of reversal. You want to give it some time to really confirm itself. So MACD normally comes in with a confirmation right there in that kind of golden area where you've been in a new downtrend for just long enough, new uptrend for just long enough that you're starting to believe is true. MACD will come in and reassure you that, no, this is a real trend change. And so that's where we are right now. And that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Is this a real trend change? Let's go ahead and analyze the last just all the times in the history of Bitcoin that we've seen a bearish cross on the MACD for Bitcoin. I'm going to go through every one of them just really quickly and show you here that this is something that doesn't happen very often. A bearish MACD cross on Bitcoin on average occurs about once a year. It's a very rare event that takes place on Bitcoin, and normally a very, very impactful one. Now, I am weeding out some of the bearish crosses that we see here. For example, I'm not going to include this one right here in August, as it was just a kind of a revisit of this previous bearish MACD cross back here in February 2014. But you kind of get the point. These bearish MACD crosses are relatively infrequent and very impactful. All right, so now that we've got all of them drawn, all of the ones that I want to analyze, we'll go ahead and count them. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in history. This would be the 10th. Bitcoin's chart on the BLX only goes back 12 years, so these happen less than once a year. Very infrequent. Let's analyze each one of them and see how Bitcoin responds. The first bearish MACD cross on record here took place in late July of 2011. From there, Bitcoin would go through a correction of 87%. It would drop a grand total of a whopping $12. For real. Yes, Bitcoin's all-time high at that point in time was $32. Bitcoin would go on to drop all the way down to $2. Bitcoin is no stranger to massive crashes. That one was 94% in the span of 200 days. All right, the next bearish MACD cross wasn't quite as bad. Bitcoin would only drop 50% in 28 days. I hope you can hear the sarcasm in my voice. Bitcoin would only drop 46%, 48%, somewhere around 50% in 28 days. Moving on to the third, you can see that Bitcoin would drop until the bullish MACD cross, about 33%, grand total of 60%. Of course, we have a little bit of kind of a fake bullish cross right here. This was technically confirmed, but wasn't a very strong one. So if we go ahead and analyze how far Bitcoin would drop in total, Bitcoin would go on to drop 81% over the course of a year. Moving forward here, we have another bearish MACD cross that actually takes place in the middle of a bull market. Now, again, there are a few that I'm weeding out here that are just kind of very minor. For example, this one right here. Looking at the major bearish MACD crosses, you can see this one would lead Bitcoin to the downside 22% within the same week that it occurred, and would go on to drop about 12% in total over the next 14 days. Of course, this kind of occurred at the bottom because it was a little bit of a lagging indicator. Now, you can see that this bearish MACD cross came into play January of 2018. This is the first bearish MACD cross that I was here for. I've been in crypto since July of 2017. Bitcoin dropped 75% in a year. Moving kind of quickly through the rest of these, this one in August of 2019 dropped the market 39%. Then, of course, we had a bearish MACD cross come in during the pandemic scare. Bitcoin dropped 52% in a week. Then we saw the massive crash of April 2021. Bitcoin would drop 54% at that point. And then this is where the thumbnail comes from. Bitcoin would go on to drop 73% after the last MACD cross bearish that we witnessed on the weekly chart. Now, let me just go ahead and show you something. If we weed out this bearish MACD cross, this bearish MACD cross, and these three, those are all bearish MACD crosses that occur actually kind of during a bull market because they are very shallow, very slight bearish MACD crosses. You can see that Bitcoin goes through a bearish MACD cross at the beginning of every single bear market in the history of Bitcoin. We're currently coming out of our fourth. Now, the concern is that Bitcoin, and let me just go ahead and pull these back up. The concern is this. Is Bitcoin going through a bearish MACD cross right now? And does that mean that we're about to go into a new bull market? Well, this is where we start breaking things down. The fact of the matter is we have now seen the bearish MACD cross. It has occurred past tense. It has occurred. It is here. That is unequivocally important because that is making this the 10th major bearish MACD cross. If you want to include every MACD cross that technically happened, then it might be about the 14th or 15th. The question on everybody's mind, and the question that Wisely T is asking is, in light of the bear's view that we presented in the Saturday video, does that mean that Bitcoin will now no longer reach all-time high during the course of this coming year? Let's break that question down. The thing you have to look at to answer a question like that is to look at the historicity and the historical context of what's occurred on the market. If you look at Bitcoin and you look at all these bearish MACD crosses, you can actually see more of them occur during the bull market itself than actually call the bear market. And so this is something that I didn't go into on Saturday's video because I want to break it down here on the live stream for you. But I also, in Saturday's video, showed you guys that I'm actually more leaning in the bullish camp while taking into account the bear's view. Looking at how many MACD crosses occur, and again, there's a few that I'm not counting in here and in here. There are a lot of MACD crosses, even one right here. Very shallow ones, bearish, that happen during the bull market because MACD is not a perfect indicator. It's going to give slightly false signals sometimes. And so I think that's where we are right now. I think Bitcoin is going through a bearish MACD cross right now because it is moving into a bull market. Many people are going to see this bearish MACD cross and think, oh goodness, Bitcoin's done for. It is now dead. It is the end of the world. Bitcoin's going to go back to $20,000 and it's going to drop and it's going to crash and it's going to burn and it's going to vanish. That's not exactly the case because you see, it wasn't just this time. It wasn't just this bull market that we saw a bearish MACD cross happen as the bull market was burgeoning. We saw the exact same thing happen during the burgeoning of the 2019 and 2020 and 2021 bull market. You guys can see here that Bitcoin went on a massive tear, huge rally, 300% in 140 days. And then it had a bearish MACD cross and Bitcoin went through this period of correction. The bull market was still coming. We had to wait for the pandemic to occur, and there was a lot of quantitative easing, etc., but it did end up occurring. As you can see here, Bitcoin has gone through a somewhat similar movement, albeit a smaller movement, but a somewhat similar movement. We doubled in price from $15,000 to $30,000. It was up $15,000 on Bitcoin, 100% over the course of 140 days. Now Bitcoin's going through this retracted correction, and going through that retracted correction means that it's going to see that MACD cross bearish. That's something that we need to keep in mind because Bitcoin has been going through this massive rally, and we've been looking at all the cycles inside of this rally. But what about the fact that this first leg to the upside, this entire leg, may have just been the phase one of the bull market? That's my question. Let me explain what I mean by that. When Bitcoin goes into a bull market, oftentimes it follows a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave pattern. If I go ahead and show you the impulse waves here on Elliott waves, you can see a bull market will normally follow a pattern such as this. Don't believe me? Let me show you what it looks like over here on the last bull market. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. You can see it right there. It doesn't show up quite as cleanly on the 2016-17 bull market because 2016-17 was such a just different kind of market. We just had this tail end where Bitcoin just went absolutely parabolic. And in fact, if you were to use Elliott Wave, you could even go up here and say that you have more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just, if you use the tool again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So the point is, Bitcoin normally goes through at least 5 waves, right? Sometimes it'll go through more, sometimes it'll go through less, but normally it's going to be at least 5. It's possible that this first movement to the upside from $15,000 to $30,000 was our first impulse wave to the upside, and now we're going through our first major corrective wave before we start going through our next major impulse wave, moving into the season of plateauing interest rates that we're likely going to see over the course of the next several months. We don't know when the effective federal funds rate is going to pause. Many people, including myself, are hoping that June 14th's decision will be a pause, but we don't know for certain that that's what's going to occur. Instead, we have to understand that there is a high probability that there will be black swan events, that there will be bearish contingent factors that will lead to corrections in Bitcoin and will drag out this correction even farther. We'd love to see this correction end right now, but the chances are that's not what's going to occur. Chances are Bitcoin is going to continue through this correction over at least the next 2 weeks as we have dark clouds hanging over Bitcoin. Remember, guys, some of the dark clouds we were facing were as follows. We were facing the debt ceiling, which has now been dealt with, thank God. By the way, a funny piece of news. The United States Treasury started issuing one-day treasuries with 6% interest. So you could buy a treasury and get your principal back the next day. They were issuing 24-hour treasuries at auction to raise emergency funds as Congress was I want to say hurrying to find a deal, but I've got to imagine that they were just drinking a lot of coffee and maybe a lot of wine and just kind of kicking it and saying, oh, you know what? I wonder if we could get this concession out of Biden. I wonder if we could get this concession out of McCarthy. Nevertheless, that has finally passed. We've finally seen the debt ceiling be kicked, the can's been kicked down the road on that matter. McCarthy and Biden have come to an agreement on that, but of course there's still plenty of concern about the June CPI reading on June 13th, and also the effective federal funds reading on the 14th. When we see those two pieces of news come out, that's going to be something that we're going to need to pay very close attention to. And I think the market is having a lot of FUD right now because many people are hoping and praying for a Fed rate pause, but we need to see the fruit of that. We actually need to see it happen. And so I think Bitcoin's going to be bearish moving here over the next 2 weeks. As we approach that June 13th and June 14th meeting, you can see this box right here. I put this as our price target. I think this box is where Bitcoin is going to go to at least. This correction is going to be protracted for some time, and I think this correction is likely going to end up, in the long run, solidifying 25,236 to 28,545 as a critical zone of support. But for now, Bitcoin is having to trade through this zone. Bitcoin is like Egypt wandering through the desert right now. We've got the promised land of a rally somewhere hazy off in the distance, but we, in that time, don't know exactly where it is or exactly when it is or exactly how to get there. We do have this kind of promised land of milk and honey out in the future where Bitcoin's above $30,000. But for now, we're not there. That being said, for now, we also have things that we need to take care of. The same way that Israel needed to figure some things out before they got to the promised land, we need to do the same thing. We have to continue to grow ourselves in a way that is going to be conducive to us building our net worth and building our portfolio and building our financial sovereignty critically. Because ultimately, financial sovereignty is not an issue of money. It is an issue of spirit. Let me say that again. Financial sovereignty is not an issue of money. It is an issue of spirit, because the money, the financial position that you find yourself in, is an outflowing of what's going on in here. How much are you educating yourself? How humble are you being? How much are you willing to be teachable? How much envy, pride, jealousy do you hold on to? It's an issue of spirit. Critically, that's what financial sovereignty is. It's an issue of the soul. It's an issue of spirit. You got to work those things out, and the increased financial sovereignty will be an outflowing of that. It's an issue of discipline, by the way. Probably going to write a book on that one day. I'd love to hear if you guys would be interested in reading that. I'm thinking about calling it The Financially Sovereign Family. Tell me if you'd be interested in that book. I've been wanting to author a few books for a while, and I do think that that would help quite a bit. So, here's the point. Bitcoin is going through a major correction right now, and that correction is likely going to take some more time. It's likely going to take at least a couple more weeks. That correction is likely not going to end just because we are hoping that Bitcoin will just because we're hoping for a CPI, effective federal funds rate pause, a major CPI drop and an effective federal funds rate pause. Instead, Bitcoin is likely going to have to go through the desert for a little while, and that gives us time to work on what we're dealing with spiritually, that we may become more disciplined, that we may become more in tune with our own shortcomings, that we may become more in tune with our own, that we may become more humble. These are all things that we need to tend to, that we may become more financially sovereign. That's the journey that all of us are on, and that's the journey that I want to help you guys come along. So, is Bitcoin about to drop 73%? No, Bitcoin is very likely not about to drop 73%. Let's be practical here for a moment and break down what that MACD cross means. For Bitcoin to drop 73%, that would mean that Bitcoin would drop down to $7,000. I don't think there's anybody here that thinks that is a realistic likelihood, at least at the moment. Maybe if this whole crypto thing ends up not working out the way that people think it will, then maybe $7,000. I doubt that, though. I think there's a lot of value in Bitcoin specifically that is going to bring a major amount of investment over the course of the next many years. I don't think Bitcoin is dead, and I do think Bitcoin will continue pushing on. But to Wisely T's question, does this bearish MACD cross mean that Bitcoin will not hit all-time high this year? Also, no, I don't think that's what that means. And the reason I don't think that's what that means is very simply because for Bitcoin to go through a major rally, it needs to have corrections. This bearish MACD cross on the weekly chart does not, in this case, imply a bear market. Why? Because Bitcoin's already gone through a bear market. The halving cycle is coming up. We have all kinds of different bullish fundamentals indicating that Bitcoin's going to go through a major bull market sooner than we might believe. And by that, I mean, in the next 12 to 16 months, Bitcoin will be going into a major bull market. To get there, especially considering right now we're in the pre-halving phase of the bull market, oftentimes you need to go through some corrective movements. For example, look at the 2016-17 bull market. Remember how I showed you the Elliott waves of that market like this to start with? Notice why I put all of the corrective waves down here. On July 11th, 2016, you guys can check me on that. I think it was May 11th. Maybe it was May 11th. I think it was May 11th. It was May 11th. Correct me on that. Anyway, somewhere it was either May, June, or July 2016. We saw the halving event. Before that and right during that time, we saw these major corrections both in time and in price. First one was time, second one was price. Then Bitcoin went parabolic. Similar thing happened right before 2016-17. Some of the biggest corrections that Bitcoin witnessed happened before the massive bull market and before the halving took place. Here it was on May 11th, 2020 is what I'm thinking of. From that point in time, Bitcoin would go through a massive rally. Right now, Bitcoin's doing something similar. It's going through a massive rally, and now it needs correction. It's gone through a huge rally. Now it needs some correction. Bitcoin back over here went through a 300% rally, needed a 70% correction. Bitcoin went through a 100% rally, probably doesn't need a 70% correction, but I could definitely see Bitcoin needing a 25 to 27% correction. Bitcoin could drop down as low as $20,000. I think that's extreme. I think what's more likely is that Bitcoin drops down to somewhere above 22,808, probably honestly above $24,000. 24K is our local high that we set here in January. We'll likely hold above that level. And then from there, after we bottomed out and gone through this prolonged, protracted correction that could last all the way until August, then Bitcoin will bounce, find its footing, and continue pushing back up towards $31,000. We ran straight at $31,000 earlier, and I do think that the next rally we see, the next major chain of rallies, will start to come in late quarter 3, moving into quarter 4, and it'll look a lot like what we saw here. If Bitcoin corrects down to $24,000 and then doubles the same way that it did at the beginning of the year, Bitcoin would shoot all the way up to $47,000. And I'm starting to believe that that's a theory that is more likely to end up holding true. I'm starting to believe that Bitcoin is more likely to have this correction down here to $24,000 and then moonshot from there up towards our later price targets towards the end of the year, because the rates market is going to be in a much different position. Many different factors are going to be in much more bullish positions for Bitcoin to really take advantage of to the fullest. And so that's where I think the Bitcoin, the bearish MACD cross is going to come into play. It did drop the market 73% last time. This time, however, I don't think it's going to drop the market. I don't think it's going to drop the market 73%. Instead, I think this time Bitcoin will likely be dropping most of where it has so far, but down to somewhere above $24,000 hold down here in a tight trading range between 24 and 28 over the course of the next month to 2 months. And then at some point, probably in July, maybe as late as August, Bitcoin will be able to break the ceiling and start moving to the upside with an explosive fashion. If you guys are enjoying today's stream, I want you to do a couple of things. First and foremost, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you will not miss a single episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. And by the way, guys, I also want to show you another technical indicator, and that would be none other than Lux Algo. Coming back out to the weekly chart, let's just show you what Lux Algo is doing out here. The cool thing about Lux Algo is that Lux Algo actually has predicted every single one of the bull markets in history perfectly. If you think I'm wrong on that, give me just 1 second. Check out this video over here on the YouTube channel. It is right here. A perfect indicator calls a $70,000 Bitcoin. I'd highly encourage you to go back and watch that video if you have not already, because in that video, I explained how Lux Algo predicts every single bull market that has ever happened in the history of Bitcoin. I'll just go ahead and show you that right now. There's a bull market indicator, bull market buy signal right there, right here. Just going all the way back in history right here and going all the way back right there. You can see these are the 5 major bull market confirmations that I want to show you, and then there's one right here as well. Just removing Lux Algo for a second just so we can look at these vertical lines. Lux Algo would have predicted, Lux Algo didn't exist back then, but back testing it, you can see that it would have predicted a market rally of 41,000%. Next bull market, 26,000%. Next bull market, 4,000%. Next major rally, 200%. Next major rally, 500%. And then we've also seen a bull market confirmation come in right here. Bitcoin so far has rallied about 40% from when that was confirmed. Lux Algo has called every single bull market. And by the way, if you go back and you look at every single confirmed buy signal on the weekly chart, that being a buy signal followed by trend catcher green, every single one of them, to my remembrance, there's 9 of them in history, and then there's the 10th that just happened more recently over the last few months. Every single time that we have seen Lux Algo flash a buy signal on the weekly chart, the market has gone through at least a 40% rally, if not even higher. Normally, by well over 200%, the market would go on to rally. And that's where we are right now. And that's kind of the counter technical indicator I want to show you guys. We do have bearish MACD that's come in here on the weekly chart. Again, BLX is 1 day behind, so it will update tomorrow with that bearish cross. That being said, we've also got a bull market confirmation right here in the form of Lux Algo, which had a buy signal come into play January 9th. It was confirmed March 6th. We've been in that rally ever since, and Bitcoin, of course, has been falling back down and testing the trend catcher as support. Lux Algo is such a widely adopted technical indicator at this point in time, guys, that coming back and backtesting the trend catcher is no surprise at all. Bitcoin coming back and backtesting the trend catcher makes a lot of sense because so many technical analysts in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space are using Lux Algo. They're using the trend catcher. This is one of the most popular technical indicators in all of Bitcoin technical analysis right now, and for good reason. It is ridiculously powerful. And so that's where I want to direct your attention and really make sure you guys understand what's going on here. Bitcoin is in very strong position with Lux Algo. So long as it stays above about $25,900, it is above the trend catcher. So long as it stays above, I'd say, now we don't know exactly because this is algorithmic, but if it stays above, I'd say about $24,000, maybe even $23,000, we're probably not going to see a sell signal. Remember, guys, Lux Algo originally, and let me just go all the way back here and show you this didn't update. Excuse me, it did. It actually moved forward because we hit it. Originally, we had to take profit here between $28,000 and $33,000. We rallied up to and hit that take profit, and so the take profit moved farther to the upside. I'm sorry, no, it didn't. That's exactly where it's been the whole time. That's the original take profit. I apologize. I got thrown off because the chart updated. If you look back here to the original take profit, the take profit on the buy signal was right here between $28,000 and $34,000. You can see what and apologies there, I got a little confused there for a moment, but you can see the buy signal came into play January 9th, and immediately the take profit sat up here at 27.7 all the way up to 34.7. Run the market forward, you can see that that's exactly where Bitcoin would end up going. Bitcoin ended up going to the dead middle of that buy signal. That buy signal's take profit, the middle level, was right here at $31,000. That is exactly where Bitcoin went. It went right here to the very middle of the take profit. You just saw me run that twice. Now, the thing I want to show you, and the thing I want you to consider, is that the sell signal on Lux Algo that did exist before this little buy signal came in, that I think honestly was a little bit premature. the thing to show you is that back here, this sell signal up here had a take profit down here for a short trade at $24,500. I would not be at all surprised if this ended up getting vindicated. If you run the chart forward here, you can see that there is now, of course, this buy signal that came into play. But I think this buy signal is a little bit thrown off because we had this massive green candlestick here that was driven by hype about the debt ceiling, and it just didn't end up coming to be. Bitcoin is now moving back into this downtrend. You remove this one day, and we should still be under this sell signal. This is technically a confirmed trend change with Lux Algo, but this is where you don't just want to lean on buy signals. On buy signals and trend catcher, you also want to lean on your market and on your technical analysis and on your intuition. I don't subscribe to this buy signal. I really don't. I'm still subscribed to this sell signal. This sell signal had to take profit with the midline at 24/7. I think that's where Bitcoin's probably going to go. And also, if this gets invalidated, which it looks like it's going to because we fell under the trend catcher and we're using it as resistance, that does not look like a confirmed buy signal to me. Then we're likely going to end up dropping all the way down to the mid-level of that stop loss zone, which is sitting at $24,000, which gives us a zone of prediction of where I think the market could go of below 25,236, which again, remember, that is the middle level of our transitionary zone, which is so important to Bitcoin. And if we just go ahead and turn Lux Algo off, actually, we will need Lux Algo here, and we go out to the weekly chart, you can see this buy signal would likely still be in play even if Bitcoin dropped down into this zone. If Bitcoin dropped down into this zone and bottomed out, we probably would not have a major trend change. You know why? Because you have to go a long way down below the trend catcher to reverse Lux Algo. You can see right here, we got a full $4,500 above the trend catcher, 20% above it, and we still didn't have a trend change confirmation with trend catcher. So if we drop only about 6% below the trend catcher, we will still be under this buy signal, which is calling the bull market, and that will likely still be relevant and in play for the next several years. All that to say, Lux Algo is giving us a counter indicator to what the MACD is saying. The MACD is giving us a sign that there is going to be a short-term correction. By short-term, I mean a month or two. Lux Algo's buy signal is giving us a longer-term prediction that over the next year, and by over the next year, I mean starting a few months ago, over that year worth of time, you're likely going to see prolonged rally. Most of Bitcoin's correction, dollar-wise, has already occurred. A lot of Bitcoin's correction, maybe up to a half or even maybe two-thirds of the time, has already occurred. Bitcoin's already dropped 26%. I would be surprised if it dropped more than 21%. So it's already done most of its correction. It's probably going to end up dropping from the April 10th high for about 90 to 100 days. Bitcoin's already been dropping for 50. So it's very possible that the majority of this correction has already taken place, and that means that this Lux Algo buy signal is still going to be in play, and Bitcoin will still be in bull market territory. So to the question at the top of this video, or the statement at the top of this video, a huge Bitcoin bear market signal just flashed. It did. And the reason I made that the title is because many of you guys are going to see in the news, in the media, in the technical analysis, this bearish MACD cross, and even in your own TA, you're going to see, and you're probably going to wonder, what does that mean? Does that mean that the bull market that we've been trying to start is over? I don't think so. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit, hold our horses, because we are in a confirmed major uptrend that I do believe will be leading to a bull market at this point in time. We don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, it's over, it's doom and gloom. Sometimes I make a title representing what you might be thinking so that I can tell you lovingly and encouragingly that I think there might be more to the story than you realize. And so in that light, where I think there's more to the story than you may realize is that the buy signal on Lux Algo is still intact. There are plenty of other bullish signals that are still intact. And if you watch that video from back on Saturday, this crashed Bitcoin 73% last time. It flashed again. Make sure to go and watch that video. I represent the bullish view as well, and I represent the bearish view. I just showed you a lot of the bearish view. I showed you some of the bullish view. And at the end of this video, I have it where it says my view. And in my view, I do think that the next couple of months for Bitcoin are going to be difficult. I do think that a recession may be looming over the United States economy, and that could bring doom and gloom to the market here in the cryptocurrency space. That all being said, so long as Bitcoin stays the path of helping people to helping people to become financially sovereign by helping them to secure their wealth into the future, then that is where I think Bitcoin is going to thrive. I do think Bitcoin is going to do great over the next year, especially with the way the world is starting to change over the next year with the rate market shifting and with a recession probably coming out of a recession is normally one of the most fertile times of a market. And so I believe from this point in time, Bitcoin is going to end up doing very well moving into the future. Next couple of months, though, may be bearish. All right, let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so very much. Make sure to hit that like button if you have not already. All right. All right. Let's see. We've got a hater in chat. Man, goodness. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Lol, I missed that Treasury 24-hour Treasury story. Yeah, if you go and look that up here, let me show you that 24-hour Treasury auction. I think it's already happened. So let me just find it for you. It was really funny. 1 day Treasury. 1 day Treasury auction. Here's the first thing that came as a CNN article. Look, in desperate bid for cash, the Treasury is auctioning 1 day bills. Goodness gracious. Look at the CNN. What is going on here? This ad is taking up half the screen. I can't see anything. Goodness. Thought I had a lot of ads. Desperate times are calling for desperate measures at the Treasury Department. For the first time since 2007, the department is set to auction $15 billion worth of 1 day cash management bills on Friday that will be issued on June 5th. Actually, that's today. Boom. So if you go to where's treasurydirect.gov, not org, it's a government institution, .gov, I think it's treasurydirect.gov, treasurydirect.gov, right? Yes, treasurydirect.gov. It seems like they may be auctioning these today. I'm not interested in buying a 1 day Treasury. I'm kind of interested in buying some 1, 2, 3, and 4 month Treasuries. But you can go and look at this over here because people are getting into Treasuries right now. A lot of people. By the way, that's one of the big things that's hurting Bitcoin. People are like, I don't want to take a ton of risk on Bitcoin when I can just go make 5% in a 3 month Treasury. So that's one of the areas that's making investment in Bitcoin a little bit difficult as well. It's harder to find capital to invest in your startup when somebody can go and just make 5% on their $10 million, risk-free, investing in the Treasury. So keep that in mind. All right. Yes, that was quite the story. That was quite funny. Shadrach Frost in chat said, "Good morning, Jeb and chat. Barely made today's show. Good to see you, my friend. Really appreciating all of the love in chat." All right. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Let's see if we have any questions in chat. I like to read chat here for the last couple of days. Make sure to go ahead and let me know what you guys are thinking. Let's see. Let's see. Looking for some questions. What about the monthly MACD about to flip bullish soon? Good question. Monthly chart MACD is about to flip bullish soon, and you can see that right here. The monthly chart MACD is a very important metric for Bitcoin because it tracks an even longer term time frame than what we typically see. I was trying to say normally. What we typically and normally see on the weekly chart. You can see whenever we do see a buy signal coming in on the weekly chart, it typically does send Bitcoin into a bull market. In fact, you can see, and this just lines up with the point I was making earlier, you can see that whenever the bullish MACD chart, MACD does come in on the monthly chart, it normally is indicating the beginning of a bull market. So, just shout out your name. Who said that? That was Dutch Landscaper. That is a very good point, and it aligns exactly with what I was saying, that Bitcoin is not just doomed because it has a bearish MACD cross on the weekly. Absolutely. Good deal. More Black Swan events, please. Yes, for sure. Totally need more of those. Crypto Poppy said, "Hope all is well, Jeb. God bless." Thank you. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Weekly MACD versus monthly MACD. Looks like the summer doldrums and sideways action as the monthly flips. Exactly. And in fact, if we look at what the market did whenever we saw those MACD crosses bullish on the weekly chart, on the monthly chart, that's kind of what you're talking about. As soon as the MACD cross on the monthly chart occurs, there's typically a bunch of sideways action that takes place. The market's kind of like, are you so sure about this? I don't know if we're so sure about this. That's kind of what happened. And at the same time, on the monthly chart, you end up seeing this buy signal coming in from Lux Algo right around the exact same time. We are close to a buy signal on the monthly chart. Bitcoin is getting close to bull market territory, guys. Look at how fast we rallied. And then we corrected. There's like a 90-degree correction angle a lot of times. We're rallying so steeply that now the correction is a lot more shallow. And so just keep that in mind. There's a bullish MACD signal probably right around the corner. Same thing happened over here, guys. We had a bullish MACD cross here on the monthly chart. Now, this is back before MACD actually formed, so keep that in mind. But MACD was going bullish. We saw the Lux Algo come in on a buy signal. Bitcoin would go on to rally. It's kind of hard to see here because it's so far ago. But Bitcoin would go on to rally 6,000% in 300 days. This is something that always happens at the beginning of a bull market. Very, very important. Very important. A bull market is coming. Technically speaking, it has been confirmed already, actually. So that's the good news. Didn't the market just get flooded with over $100 billion in treasuries today? The market got flooded with a ton of treasuries, and so the issue that the market is running into right now is that it's kind of difficult to get people to invest in the stock market and generate what many people are predicting will be 3 to 5% returns when you can make 5% guaranteed on short-term treasuries. Let me just show you the treasury yields. And so that's making it more difficult for people to invest in the stock market, because why would they invest in the stock market when they can go and buy a 6-month treasury at a 5.6% interest rate? Did you hear me? Excuse me. Did I have my mic backwards? I think I may have had my mic backwards. Give me 1 second. Check. I think I may have had my mic backwards. Anyway, I'm so sorry. What I was saying, oh my goodness. Dang, it sounds like a good rant too. Yes, I'm so sorry. What I was saying, okay. Someone said, dang, it sounded like a good rant too. Yes, it was a good rant. Let me just roll it back a minute. Sorry, I muted my mic to do that. Let me just roll it back. Here's the rant. When you are getting 5.6% return in treasuries, as you can see right here, why would you go invest in the United States stock market? Why would you go invest in the S&P 500? Why would you go invest in why would you go invest in tech stocks? Why would you go invest in Bitcoin when you can go and make 5.6% in treasuries? Why would you, if you're a hedge fund or if you're an investment management bank, why would you go and put $100 million into the stock market and risk losing money over the next 2 years because we're moving into this recession period when you can go and make $5.6 million on your $100 million by buying 6-month treasuries? Not only do they have massive returns right now comparable to what the stock market brings many years, they're also highly liquid. If you look at the U.S. 6-month Treasury T-bill, they're bringing 5.6% with a very short maturity, only 6 months. So not only do they bring massive amounts of interest, they're also bringing very, very short maturity, which means they're very liquid. You can lock money up into a 6-month Treasury at 5.6%, and you're still going to be able to get that money out of the Treasury 6 months later instead of having to lock it up for 30 years. Nobody wants to buy a 30-year treasury because they don't know where the economy is going to be. It's very rare that people lock up a 30-year bond with any intention of holding on to it for the long term. They price into their strategy how much it's going to cost to sell the thing and hope that they can sell it for more than it's worth. We've got an inverted yield curve right now, which does two things. Number one is predicting that there's going to be a that there's going to be a recession. And number two, it's also like you're filling up this bathtub full of water, and you've had to, and you're trying to fill up the economy with all this money, but all the money, all the water is coming straight out the drain because somebody opened the drain. The economy, the government is trying to get the economy into this place where people are willing to put money into the stock market and get the jobs market growing. But instead, everybody's just dumping money into the Treasury Department right now by getting these 5.6% treasuries, which means that economic growth is going to stagnate because people are putting all their money into the government, and the government's not going to do anything profitable with it in the first place. We know that because we try and avoid taxes, because we know that we have a better thing to do with the taxes than they do. The only reason you would pay more money on taxes than you absolutely have to is because you think that the government is better at wasting your money than you are, and I suppose that would be accurate. It's going to be difficult for the stock market and for the Bitcoin market to grow when treasury yields are this high. And frankly, it's kind of a good point. Like for me, right now, I've already got a huge cryptocurrency portfolio. I would much rather, if I have more cash come in, I'm not investing in Bitcoin right now. I've got so much of my investment over there. I want to diversify a little bit. If I've got money come in that I want to invest in, I'm going to go put it in some 6-month treasuries, guys. That's 5.6%. That's crazy. That's insane for a risk-free investment vehicle. That sounds like a great way to underpin the foundation of your investment account, of your investment strategy. It's great. And so all the money that could be flowing into Bitcoin, that could be flowing into the stock market, is flowing into treasuries. So there you go. That's my rant. All right, we're going a little long. I do apologize for the sound issue. I thought Jeb was channeling Mussolini with all those hand gestures. Yes, I gotta show my chin here. For all of you guys who don't know, Mussolini was Benito Mussolini was and the Blue Meanie, Cowboy Curtis, and John B. the Genie. I'm sorry, I had to go there. Mussolini height. I did not mean to do that. Mussolini had all these pictures where he would always just show off his chin. He was always trying to show off his chin. He was very proud of his jawline. Very proud of his jawline. I mean, his head looked like a square, and he wanted to brag about it to everybody. Fun fact about Mussolini: he was the dictator of Italy, and he got fired. Like some dictator. The king summoned him to his palace, and the king said, because apparently there was still a king, king summoned him to his palace and said, "You're fired." And so Mussolini got dragged out by the police and arrested, and then he got caught and executed. Which, that's sad, but is it? I don't know. Anyway. Some kind of dictator to get fired. That's him. I'm glad. Mussolini was a terrible man, but ouch. That's got to hurt. All right, guys. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. We are going to have to go ahead and wrap it out. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream or video. And also, guys, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo. You guys saw in this stream just how powerful it is. There's a lot of value in it, so make sure that you buy it. You can use coupon code JEB, J-E-B-B, 30 for 30% off at checkout. And when you subscribe to Lux Algo using the 12-month plan and JEB30, you're going to be saving $472 in your first year. So make sure to go to luxalgo.com, use coupon code JEB30, J-E-B-B 30 to get 30% off at checkout and get started today using that package, that indicator, because it's going to help you so much in your technical analysis. I am going to have to go ahead and, do I need the paid version of TradingView for Lux Algo to work? No, you do not, RC Moore. You just need the paid version of Lux Algo because it's a paid indicator. Before I go, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good